In 2021, Amazon earned almost $280 billion in revenue exclusively from its operations in the United States. This exorbitant figure does not account for revenues generated from the Amazon Web Service unit, which would increase this financial influx of capital by another $60 billion. As of 2022, Amazon.com is the second largest company in the world as measured per revenue, behind the retailer Walmart and just ahead of two government-adjacent energy companies, PetroChina and Saudi Aramco. Jeff Bezos is the third richest man in the world. There are few words that can describe the meteoric rise of the online retailer that have not already been said. In many ways, Amazon is the mythical disruptor that has eroded traditional markets in everything from books to groceries to, most recently, video streaming and cloud infrastructure. If capitalism is the game of ingenuity and the science of solving people's needs while getting very rich, in many ways, Bezos has won the game. But today I want to talk about the other, often forgotten side of this equation. Amazon is not just a retailer, it is a platform where sellers meet buyers, even if Amazon wishes to end all of that. I can't speak for you, but sometimes while I scroll through Amazon, I forget that I'm dealing with an open market of sellers, where companies as big as Nike and Nintendo share digital shelf space with teenagers selling their sneakers and second-hand stores resell their Pokemon games. And this is just the way that Amazon wants it to be. The cohesive, indistinct interface makes it seem as if the entire selection of products presented to the seller after clicking the search button is brought to you directly by Amazon itself. The only colors available are the Amazon branded orange, black, and white. No third-party logos are on site besides the omnipresent smirk under Amazon.com at the top left of the screen. A shy, unclickable title indicating the seller meekly shows its head under the listed results, clear and gray that it might as well disappear into the background. By Nintendo, it reads. After clicking on an item, for example a Nintendo Switch, an even shyer URL awaits at the end of a short text asking you to visit the Nintendo Store. An exit, you might think, but no. The Nintendo Store that awaits you at the end of this link is not the Nintendo Store, but the Nintendo Store within Amazon. There is no escape. You know it, Amazon knows it, and the sellers know it too. Welcome to Rebel Economics. Today I want to talk about Amazon from the perspective of the sellers, and the many ways in which Amazon weaponizes its pseudo-monopolistic position to abuse sellers on its platform. At the most basic, any platform that centralizes the flow of customers through their site should bring the following benefits to independent retailers. Firstly, new customers. Undoubtedly, the promise of presenting your goods in the web's most visited online retailer with reach across the world is a tempting one. A florist in Berlin or a watchmaker in Barcelona have little chance to individually offer their goods to few more clients than those that pass down the street where their stores are located. However, with Amazon seller programs, they can put their petunias and Rolexes in front of the eyes of millions. Secondly, the marketplace platform provides infrastructure and support. Amazon sellers don't have to worry about server costs, cybersecurity, billing processes, or customer communication. Everything is available at their fingertips, in tried and tested environments where they can execute their business processes that are required of every modern online shop. And thirdly, even if this is not always the case, marketplaces do sometimes take on the risk of guaranteeing payment and providing insurances for goods that get damaged during the transport, as well as managing the return of goods from dissatisfied customers to retailers or stock centers. These benefits certainly do more than simply sweeten the deal for independent retailers. They provide the very fabric of online existence for companies that would otherwise have no way of existing in the web, or would find it extremely difficult to compete against Amazon. I mean, if you think you can create a web page to sell your t-shirts that is more optimized than Amazon, I say, good luck to you. Amazon received a total of 44.2 billion visits in May of 2022, centralizing over 30% of American internet retail traffic and close to 50% of online retail revenues, very far away from titans of physical retail like Walmart. Furthermore, the traffic it received is of extreme quality, with an average visit to Amazon being 2.5 minutes long and covering over 5 pages. Essentially, most of the retail traffic of American households flows through Amazon. And this is a reality independent sellers cannot simply ignore while they keep printing flyers to promote their next half off promotion. The world is on Amazon, and they want a piece of it. Then why are they miserable once they stock their neat identical Amazon stores? That is what we will explore in the next section. In 2019, a business survey by the local Institute of Self-Reliance uncovered that over 75% of independent retailers at Amazon had determined the relationship with their platform overlords to be the direct threat to their survival. Amazon, they said, abused and mistreated independent retailers with a myriad of anti-competitive and abusive policies, leading to only 11% of those interviewed by the Institute to qualify the relationship they had with the online retailer as satisfactory. Here are some of the ways in which Amazon is bullying small retailers. Firstly, due to its enormous size, Amazon has essentially destroyed the ability of small retailers to find alternatives to the orange and black limbo of its search results. This absolute power grants Amazon the function of capitalism's gatekeeper. As we mentioned before, it is no longer an overstatement to argue that either you exist on Amazon or you don't exist at all. This dependence is profoundly dangerous to small retailers and causes many of them to live in terror. Alterations to Amazon's search algorithm or partner agreement conditions can lead to an absolute decline on the revenues, of which many would not be able to recover. While Amazon shields its practices behind the ever-binding partner agreement. Amazon makes the process extremely difficult for any independent retailer brave enough to seek independence from Daddy Bezos, mainly by painstakingly eliminating any branded identity from any of the pages and limiting their contacts with customers on the platform. Secondly, Amazon, like many other platforms, owns the customer information, and they're not going to share it with the retailers. The customer information that users have to fill in as they create an account in Amazon is never shared with the seller. Data points like email addresses that would allow sellers to independently contact customers are kept absolutely secret and owned by Amazon. The only way retailers at Amazon might contact customers is via its internal messaging system, but the data belongs to Amazon. This seemingly irrelevant point is anything but, as in April 2021, it implemented a new policy that would block most sellers from even seeing the names and addresses of people who acquire their products. However, this secrecy only works one way, as the Wall Street Journal uncovered that Amazon had repeatedly spied and gathered crucial data on retailers, like their sales prices and the amounts, as well as other information crucial for their survival, like suppliers. More on the dark implication of this covert market research later. Thirdly, Amazon basically requires retailers to agree to their FBA or Fulfillment by Amazon warehousing and shipping services. In a natural extension of their oversized market power and displaying clear signs of monopolistic tendencies, Amazon has essentially made their warehousing and shipping services a requirement for success on their platform. Amazon enforces this unfair market practice in two ways. First, retailers that do not purchase the FBA package will be disproportionately less likely, more or less impossible, to be selected as the main result or default retailer for a given product, essentially relegating them to the dark corners of the second and third result pages. Secondly, and perhaps more visually, their user interface is set up in a way that only the sellers that have agreed to the FBA contract can display the Prime badge, which studies shown is interpreted by customers as bringing veracity and trustworthiness to the retailer's products. And yet, the question remains, is Amazon FBA a good service? Well, this question is a bit more complex, since Amazon's warehousing services are required for the company to guarantee its prime 24-hour delivery window, something that the marketplace would not dare promote were the products sent from third parties directly from the retailer shops. But when it comes to price, it really is not a good deal. Many other independent shipping companies offer better rates than those proposed by Amazon, especially for those small retailers that cannot use the volume or ship items to bring the price down. These small retailers are generally damaged by the lack of competition in shipping services, reducing their margin per sale even further. Matthew White, a retail and logistic consultant, argues that seeing how the FBA is not competing in price, if it weren't for the direct impact on search results and the Prime badge, he would not recommend any seller to agree to Amazon FBA. Fourth, Amazon blocks independent businesses from selling their products cheaper on other sites. You know, I really wish that I could go through one of these videos without having to talk about monopolistic prices, but with Amazon, that is just impossible. Until 2019, Amazon included a specific anti-competition clause in its contracts with retailers, literally prohibiting the sale of their products for cheaper in competing marketplaces. Seeing how this is a gray area legally and attempts against free competition, Amazon was forced by the US Congress to remove this clause. This sadly had very little effect, since as many sellers will be quick to tell you, a reminiscence of this clause still haunts their fair pricing policy. Essentially, if Amazon's competition's analyzing crawler bots detect a seller offering their products for cheaper in a competitor's site, they will be submitted to Amazon's Guantanamo, the later pages of the search results. Weaponized algorithms is a practice that was not described in the classical economic theories of monopolies, but it certainly ought to be. Sellers are therefore locked into not only a marketplace, but also into a price. Essentially, Amazon has de facto cut both mechanisms of free competition that exist at the heart of capitalist systems. And lastly, there is probably the worst of these practices. Amazon unfairly competes against small retailers internally. A Congress investigation on the anti-retailer practices of Amazon revealed that, for all of its public image and marketing fanfare about retailers in the marketplace being considered partners, the name that was reserved for independent sellers inside closed doors was internal competitors. This idea helps explain Amazon's master plan. Retailers in Amazon are not taking place in a fair, unbalanced marketplace of products and services where sellers and buyers meet, and the owner of the marketplace pockets a percentage for making everything possible. No. They are taking part in the largest market research in the history of the world. Remember when we talked about the Wall Street Journal having found direct evidence of Amazon spying on retailers' prices and providers? When you add that to the troves of client data that sellers have no access to, and how Amazons understand the relationship with their sellers as competitors, the grand strategy of the giant retailer is made evident. Amazon will use the data obtained by spying on retailers to test market niches, like books, clothes, watches, and video games, fulfilling their database with enormous amounts of correlational data between sellers, buyers, and the environment in which those transactions are executed, including prices, seasonality, discounts, and many others. Once that data is protected and stored in Amazon's repositories, it can uncover successful market niches and discover the perfect price point, while having access to the customer data required to directly promote the new versions of products that they would deliver in-house. The name of such perversion of capitalism is called Amazon Basics. The Amazon branded item seems relatively simple at first glance, but they are the product of a research conducted across almost a decade. Once those products are created, Amazon can compete in price with other retailers in the platform and drive them off the marketplace. Since they can both promote directly to either the same customers or lookalike audiences that they can extract from all the customer data that they can access, Amazon is particularly known for a strategy commonly referred to as golden lungs, by which a capital-rich company will be able to take losses in a product for a long period of time, enough to kick competitors out of the market, and then, when it is the only player in this industry, start generating profit by increasing the prices unbothered by any competition. Every time that I buy something through Amazon and receive it in the next day, I can't help but think of how useful it is to have access to a service of such undisputed quality. But it is also important to consider the other, hidden side of the coin of such success. Amazon has up until now been an ally of customers, offering great prices and delivery options, as well as relatively competitive one-day delivery policy with Prime. That also includes access to its streaming service and many other cool services. But this has been paid for with the pain and extortion of sellers on the platform that have been brought to the brink of bankruptcy and submission. Thank you for watching this episode of Rebel Economics. If you enjoy it, please consider hitting the like button and perhaps even subscribing. We have lots of content coming up each week. Have a great day. Bye.